Hello, trading is closed on the 12th of December, 2023. We'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, make some predictions. It's my trading plan for Wednesday, which is December 13th, 2023. Just remember, I can be dead wrong, and any call, any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Today's pattern had the early low. Tends to be a rally day with a high and a fine lower. We got that. We said that this sharp spike up at yesterday's close tended to be a false move. Even though futures traded way up here, this move was immediately rejected at the open. I don't predict what happens during futures, during overnight I should say, so that worked. This is a reminder of what we said, early low, final high, and said that last move up was false. During the day, MEJT doesn't trust this, gives us a target 46.3195. If we don't gap up smartly, that's my call. This isn't quite the same as yesterday's pattern, but I think it's related. A long rally went almost an hour towards the end without breaking to a new high, without overtaking this high on a closing basis. And then suddenly in the last 5 minutes you break out to a new high in a straight line. It's a wall into the close. These things often get down when the market reopens under this low. We had these trend lines, we moved over them without gapping over them. That shouldn't stick, and we should return at least to these trend lines. It isn't a big move back, but I think we'll move back. And as always, if you gap up smartly, then I'm wrong. But that doesn't mean you have to risk money on it if you gap up smartly. You just don't take the trade. Well, tomorrow's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. The producer price index comes out before the open, and the Federal Open Market Committee meeting announcement is made in the afternoon. These can affect the market in ways I just can't predict with a sufficient degree of accuracy. I tend not to take positions of any size when there's an important economic report coming out. There are plenty of other patterns I can predict with more accuracy than these. I just don't have the same level of accuracy when these things come out. So that being said, we have a lower MEJT target. If we don't gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. There are other things that make me leery of today's advance, even though we hit a new recovery high. The VIX hit another new multi-year low. It shows option players are much too optimistic. It isn't a pinpoint indicator. They can stay optimistic for days, even weeks, but it's eventually they get proven wrong. We broke over some trend lines without gapping over them. Usually, not always, we're going to retrace at least to that line. And we had a wall to a new high day in the last 5 minutes of trading. It's not the time I want to see breakouts, and often this is reversed at the next day's open. And fans of Norm Linsky, who saw his interview this week, will notice he has a change in trend, which he says could be major after today's close based on his astro methodology. So we have a lower target, 46.3195. We don't gap up, that's my call. We could gap up because these economic reports come out, but usually when I see a wall on the close like this, last 5 minutes, I expect us to gap under it. But I don't always get what I expect, and when these reports come out, it tends to play things a bit more conservatively, in my opinion. So it's the pattern with the early low. I'm suspicious of the advance. Doesn't mean it has to stop tomorrow. And I usually stand aside when the FOMC announcement comes out, even though it tends to be a major move. It's a pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.